Let's talk about the brain. Parts of the brain include the hypothalamus, the pons, the medulla oblongata. Not part of the brain, but part of the central nervous system is the spinal cord. At the back is the cerebellum. And then most of the brain is part of the cerebrum. The cerebrum's role includes speech, reasoning, memory, personality, movement, and sensory reception. The four lobes are the occipital, temporal, parietal, and frontal lobes. So in the cerebrum, we have the frontal lobe, which controls motor movement, so voluntary movements, so information traveling to the skeletal muscles. It's also linked to memory, reasoning, critical thinking, language, and personality. The parietal lobe, so top back, includes sensory areas associated with touch, pressure, pain, temperature, and taste. It's also linked to emotions and interpreting speech. The occipital lobe is for vision, and the temporal lobe is for hearing and smelling. We refer to the sense of the smell as olfactory reception. The hypothalamus regulates body temperature and metabolism. It controls hunger, thirst, sleep, and sex drive. The cerebellum, at the back of the brain, controls balance, coordination of voluntary muscle movement, and muscle tone. It ensures that when one set of muscles initiates a movement, the opposing set acts as a brake, resulting in smooth and balanced muscular activity. The cerebellum works with the frontal lobe to control skeletal muscles. The pons is a relay center. It transmits information from the medulla oblongata to the parts of the brain. The medulla oblongata controls the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is part of the peripheral nervous system. It includes the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. It's involuntary control. It controls things like heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, and digestion. So let's compare the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic, think S for stress. It is the fight or flight response, versus parasympathetic is rest and digest. So let's go through the sympathetic side of it. It causes dilation of pupils to take in more information, more light enters the eye. Inhibits salivation because saliva is a part of the digestive system, not required if you are fighting or fleeing. Also decreased blood flow to skin. Increases the heart rate to increase blood flow to all tissues. Relaxes the airways. Inhibits activity of stomach, again part of digestion. Stimulates release of glucose, so that's the liver. Glycogen would be converted to glucose. And inhibits the gallbladder because the gallbladder secretes bile for digestion, which isn't needed if you are fighting or fleeing. Inhibits activity of intestines, so in other words, it decreases peristalsis, which is movement of the food through the small and large intestine. Secretion of epinephrine and norepinephrine from the adrenal gland. It relaxes the bladder, which means no peeing your pants. Relaxing means it's not contracting, so no urine is leaving the bladder. And last, it promotes ejaculation and vaginal contraction. Okay, so again, that's the sympathetic nerves, fight or flight. Parasympathetic is the opposite. It's rest and digest. How did I do it? I don't know. I guess the fight or flight mechanism kicked in, and well, in case you haven't heard, Bob, I'm a penguin. We don't fly.